Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for today, Friday, February 2nd, 2018. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, Technical Assistance Mission met today with Nevis's Premier and the Nevis Island Administration's Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance. Felicia Liebert has the details.
Chief of the Resource Management Division of the IMF's Fiscal Affairs Department, Matt Davies, outlined the details of the mission.
This is a technical assistance mission of the IMF, so it's something that the IMF provides technical support as a free service to all its members. It's strictly at their request to help them develop their policies, procedures and systems. The outcome is just a private report to the government with St Kitts and Nevis. They're welcome to publish it and disseminate it as they wish, but for us it's just our confidential technical advice to the officials of the country.
Davies noted that his team was requested by Prime Minister and Federal Minister of Finance, the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris, to give advice on two key areas.
How St Kitts can develop its budgeting and fiscal management system to ensure, as you say, fiscal sobriety. The recent really good outcomes can be continued well into the future, and how it can establish a more formal framework for communicating that to the people and the Parliament of St Kitts. The second part of this is how the benefits of the sobriety of recent years, just aided by the citizenship by investment revenues, can be put aside and used only for really special circumstances, so the savings of the nation is available for future generations.
The division chief also stated that a few of his colleagues will be arriving in the Federation on Monday, 5th February, to look at asset management on the government's side. He further added that the two teams will deliver reports to Prime Minister Harris in the coming week. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honourable Mark Brantley, expressed his deep appreciation to the IMF for their assistance over the years.
I want to go on record to thank the International Monetary Fund for its assistance over the years to both St Kitts and Nevis, to us as a country, but also individually to the Nevis Island Administration. I want to thank them for the very good advice contained in the various reports that they generate, and I believe that the IMF has done an excellent job in keeping us focused on fiscal sobriety as we try to go forward as a country, and in the case of Nevis as an island. We have had and continue to have some discussions internally, because of course part of the difficulty that we've had is in terms of measuring Nevis's position vis-a-vis the overall federal position. And certainly we hope that working with our technocrats here at the Ministry of Finance and with the IMF, that we ultimately will get to a position where we can have perhaps a more adequate measure as to where Nevis as an island stands in relation to the overall formulation of GDP and the like for the country as a whole.
The team, which also consisted of economist and consultant Matt Crook, senior economist Takuji Komatsuzaki, and economist Nicholas End, held discussions with Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Colin Dorr, and Principal Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Joan Brown. I'm Felicia Liebert reporting for the Nevis Newscast.
Thanks, Felicia. The second leg of the two-day training of electricity planning, strategic analysis, and integrated resource planning for the employees of the Nevis Electricity Company Limited, NEVLEC, concluded today. Specialist leaders of the Deloitte Advisory, Martin Lin and Jai Gopal, as well as the project manager, Neil Borland, were the facilitators of the training program, which took place at the Red Cross headquarters in Charlestown. Lin outlined the main purpose of the training and also spoke about the feedback from the participants.
We're going to be using a fundamental model, which is a long-term forecasting and strategic analysis model, to look at what your supply resources are, what the demand is, and how do you balance your system to go from supply to demand.
Acting General Manager of NEVLEC, Jervan Swanston, outlined the staff who are involved in the training.
This training, integrated resource planning, speaks about the mix of energy that is being put into the system, both on the supply side and on the demand side. And so over the last 4 days, we have been having training both with SCELEC in St. Kitts, that is, we have had 2 days there, Tuesday and Wednesday, and now we are on the final 2 days here in Nevis. So who are we training? We are training our technical staff, those of course on the generation side, those on the transmission side, and members of management.
Premier of Nevis and Minister with responsibility for public utilities and energy, the Honourable Mark Brantley, expressed thanks on behalf of the Nevis Island administration.
We are very bullish on renewable energy, green energy, and I think that the purpose of this, as I understand it, is to ensure that we have the right mix and to determine how that mix of energy into the grid will work for the benefit ultimately of the people of Nevis and the people of St. Kitts. So we're very grateful. I can say that whenever this team comes, both islands get good exposure and good training, because I know you've been in St. Kitts for 2 days, you're here for 2 days, you've worked with SCELEC, you're working with NEVLEC, and I just wanted to extend our heartiest thank you to your team.
The training was facilitated by Deloitte and Touche LLP in the United States of America. The staff at the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, SCELEC, received similar training on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. The Joyce and Liebert Primary School was on Tuesday, January 30th, the recipient of a donation of books from the non-governmental organization Hands Across the Sea. Hands Across the Sea is an organization dedicated to raising the literacy levels of children in the Eastern Caribbean. Co-founder of the organization, Harriet Linsky, made the presentation.
And we are here with the Student Council, standing in front of some very nice shelves of books that have been donated to Hands Across the Sea through some various generous donors here in the Federation. And our goal at Hands Across the Sea is to try to improve literacy and to get kids really excited about reading. We're in our 11th year in the Federation, and we have helped about 42 schools and reading programs. We've shipped over 42,000 books, serving about 13,000 children here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Principal Barbara Hendrickson, who accepted the donation on behalf of the school, expressed her appreciation.
We want to say how much we appreciate the kind gesture of the donation of the books. Believe you me, I myself would sit in here and read all of them if I had the time, because I believe reading is important, and we try to impress that upon the children as well. Some of the books would have been given out to the various classes to use in their class libraries, and we have the rest of the books here. And we don't have a library per se, but we are trying to work with the space that we have. We created what we call our reading nook, and sometimes it serves as a multi-purpose area. When we are having certain exhibitions, we use the area as well. But today we are very happy. We have some new shelves that we got specially made for, after we got the books from the foundation at this time. We made the shelves, and Mr. Kervin Wallace was the one, a member of staff, who made the shelves. We got the donation for the material from the Student Council. And so we are really very grateful today for all that has been done, the transformation that has taken place here in our small area. And once again, let me say thank you for the donation of the books.
I would like to say thank you from Hands Across the Sea for bringing these lovely books for us to read.
President of the Joyce and Liebert Primary School's Student Council, Shante Hendrickson. Also present was Coordinator of School Libraries, Londa Brown. Still to come.
As leaders, educators, we must take the responsibility and ownership of our professional development.
The details after this break.
Hello, my name is Culturama, the Caribbean's greatest summer line. Most islands have their festival annually, but they call it Carnival. With all those shows, we fete and fun. We party from sun up to sundown. Everybody come now, show the world what we mean when we talk about Culturama. Rocks up, flags up, flags up. Time to wake up for the jam. We coming down early to be morn. Rocks up, flags up, flags up. Time to jump up in the van.
Welcome back. Education officers and school principals on Nevis benefited from a two-day leadership retreat held on Wednesday, January 31st and Thursday, February 1st at the conference room of the Nevis Disaster Management Department. The exercise was hosted by the Department of Education under the theme Education for All, Embracing Change, Securing the Future. Principal Education Officer Pawsey Wilkin gave the welcome remarks.
Keeping pace means that we must be open to change, improvement, and growth as educators and as individuals. It is this commitment that we have at the Department of Education why we are here today. We recognize that as leaders, educators, we must take the responsibility and ownership of our professional development. We must empower ourselves, by extension, our principals, our supervisors, our teachers, in order to have successful learning outcomes.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Kevin Barrett, in his remarks, noted that he is encouraged by the fact that the Department of Education is taking the education sector plan for St. Kitts and Nevis very seriously.
And the ministry gives this its blessing, and I'm also hoping that when we leave here after tomorrow, we would say that it was good that we came to this workshop. And then we will start doing the things that we learned at this workshop and implement it into our day-to-day running of our school plans. It's very important that we have these type of training because it not only gives us insight into where we want to take education, but I am sure that we are going to be forging even deeper bonds as we go ahead, as we go forward with our education sector plan. Because settings like these, we share ideas, we share a lot of things that I believe would help us in growing a better relationship and to see clearly, more clearly, where we want to take education.
Presentations were made on the topic, The Leader in Me, Health and Family Life, Education, as well as clinical supervision sessions on knowing the way, showing the way, going the way, and the way forward. According to Barrett, similar training exercises are taking place on St. Kitts. In celebration of its 10th anniversary, the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, EPPS, will tomorrow, Saturday, February 3rd, host the Mr. and Miss EPPS show. The pageant will feature 6 contestants.
Because sports happens this term, we have centered that show around the 3 colors that we have at this school. We have red, green, and gold. So the participants of this show, it's a pair in terms of a boy and a girl for each house. They will be teaming up to present a show to the public. There's a, the normal fanfare segment, there's a sporting segment, and talent, of course. That final segment is going to be a professional way where the students depict a specific profession that they would have chosen. There'll also be a question and answer segment. We have a packed sideshow. There are some nice little numbers that we are sourcing, so it's not gonna be just us.
I am 8 years old, Kayla Mendaka. And I am 8 years old, Jamal McDonald. And we are representing Red House. We are inviting you to come on out on the 3rd of February 2018 to rep Red. Don't be late, 7 p.m. sharp. I am 9 years old, Maisha Vantapur. And I am 8 years old, Anton Percival. And we are representing Go House. So come on out on the Saturday or 3rd of February 2018 at the Culture Village, 7 p.m. sharp to rep Gold House. Shh! Can you hear it? Oh, it must be the Green Giants. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am 8 years old, Shaquana Jones. And I am 8 years old, Deandra Lewis. And we are representing Green Giants. Come on out, February the 3rd, 2018 at the Nevis Culture Complex, 7 p.m. sharp to see us win the
Tickets for adults cost $20, for children 12 and older $15, and children younger than 12 $10. That brings us to the end of this edition of the Nevis Newscast. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.